You are now listening to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Welcome in and welcome all. We are back. It's the Insight NFL show, giving you a little SuperCoach edition with probably our biggest show for the week. It's Wednesday, the 1st of October. Week 5 is about to start. We've got a massive trade show, and joining me, looking as dashing as ever, Mav, how are you going tonight, mate, as we dive into this trade show together?
Yeah, really good actually. Looking forward to talking some trade in, trade out targets. It's going to be a busy show. These generally are, especially when we're heading into the bye weeks for fantasy football. There's 4 teams on bye, keep in mind. So some teams, we're hoping anyway, don't have 3 wide receivers that they're all on bye and one has to miss out. So or 2 running backs. Well, that's fine, but you know what I mean. Like maybe more the wide receivers as such. But yeah, looking really forward to it. See how we go. See what we can come up with. There's a lot to unpack, I reckon.
Yeah, a whole heap to unpack, in those injuries as well keep on piling up. We had a couple of devastating season-long injuries taking place this week in Malik Neighbours and also Tyreek Hill. We've got a couple little injuries as well, but we'll skim through them pretty quickly as we are still waiting on some updates with the NFL teams that have their Wednesday practice, which will be for us tomorrow when we have those updates. But as always, we will be back tomorrow night with our Week 5 preview and starts of the week in terms of traditional fantasy. And we'll also have our captain's huddle dropping in the morning for SuperCoach as well. So you'll have a couple of options there with your captaining as we head into Week 5. But without further ado, we'll jump straight into our quick injury update. So there's been a couple of little injuries pop up here, or one really in particular. Bucky Irving, running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was said that he copped a low ankle sprain throughout their loss to the Eagles, and he played through. And of course, afterwards, the swelling when he stopped running around, that's taken effect. He's an outside chance to miss Week 5. It doesn't look as severe, but yeah, could be on track to miss this week. So we'll have the likes of Rashad White and also Sean Tucker stepping in. How do you feel about this one, Mav, with Bucky Irving? I know it flew a little bit under the radar on my end. But yeah, how are you feeling about Bucky as we head into Week 5?
Yeah, I mean, if he does miss, obviously Rashad White should see majority of the snaps. Bucky would be a big loss, especially in bye weeks when you have 4 weeks on 4 teams on bye, should I say? Sorry, is huge. You don't want to have injuries into your SuperCoach side when there's so many teams on bye. Injuries are the last thing that you want. So yeah, should be interesting. It's trending to the point that he actually might miss, isn't it? It's looking like it's more unlikely that he plays than it is likely. So it's probably like a 40-60 at this point that he plays to not plays. So just one to monitor. We'll have more news, as he said, tomorrow. But yeah, one very concerning, I reckon. Hopefully it's only a week because too many injuries so far this year.
Yeah, fingers crossed. That's the absolute last thing we hate to see when we are coming up to these buys, like you mentioned. If only the Bucs had their Week 5 bye, it'd line up just perfectly. But a team that's also not dealing with their bye this week, Lamar Jackson, we do have an update. It's looking like he definitely will miss Week 5 with that hamstring. And on top of that, there's a very good chance he's out for 2 to 3 weeks total and comes back in after their bye in Week 7. So he starts in Week 8 for them. But I don't know, Mav, this one, it just feels a little, if they come back from the bye and the team's won 6, their season might be in real jeopardy, and they're probably going to have to win out their final games to get into the playoffs. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards it definitely miss this week, but I think there's a chance they might try and bring him back early for next week and before they jump into their bye. But how are you feeling about Lamar?
Yeah. Hard to say, isn't it? Like, unlikely he plays this week, so you can pretty much rule him out to this point already. If Jaden Daniels is missing 2 weeks based off his day-to-day injury, then you can almost rule out Lamar definitely for this week. Does he play Week 6? Maybe, depending on it. It's just a hammy. You hate these things coming up because they're so easy just to re-aggravate and do further damage, really. So let's hope that, for SuperCoach's sake, do you hold him if he stays for a week? Like if he's out for a week, or do you just move him on and go back to him at a later date? It's almost the hardest decision to make without clarity of how long he's going to miss.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and I'm sure we'll be talking about him as we jump into our trade-ins and trade-outs for week 5. But yeah, you absolutely hate to see it. An absolute stud in Lamar missing any time at all. These next pairing that we have here for the 49ers, they are coming off they're coming off a short turnaround as they start the week 5 against the Rams in Thursday Night Football, but Friday morning for us here in Australia. Brock Purdy, the quarterback, and Ricky Pearsall, the wide receiver 1 so far in the year for the 49ers. Not optimistic for both in playing week 5. It again, it's not confirmed as of yet, but it is trending towards that way that they both will miss on the short week here. So we'll have the likes of Mac Daddy Jones back in there, and also Juwan Jennings. He's kind of also dealing with an injury, so it might just be the CMC show for this one. As well, George Kittle, he's eligible to return in week 6. So they would have loved it if it was this week, but again, he's still 1 week away from coming off that IR. But the 49ers, Mav, as they take on the Rams, a pretty tough defense. I believe they're top 10 currently in the NFL. How are you feeling about the 49ers, especially if Brock Purdy doesn't play?
I'm okay with Mac Jones starting, to be honest with you. I'm fine with that. I think he's shown that when he's come in for Purdy, he's been serviceable. He's probably a top backup QB in the league, to be fair. I mean, we saw him last year at the Jags, what he did there. Like, I mean, wasn't winning games as such, but putting yards on the board and making Brian Thomas look like a superstar. But yeah, I mean, Ricky Pearsall is probably the big one, isn't he? I mean, Purdy, whatever, cool. He's probably not any supercoach, so probably neither is Pearsall. But if Pearsall does miss, I think that's going to hurt them big time, man. I think it is, because they're going to have Juwan Jennings, and that's it, with obviously CMC. But the offense just loses another weapon. It makes it hard for the ball to move around. I mean, they'll stack the box on CMC. So again, it might be just to hold your breath on CMC for his fantasy production this week. Sure, a lot of volume, but let's see if he can actually produce with the limited options they've got.
Yeah, I can imagine a whole heap of catches for CMC. He's already been getting a whole heap, but there could be a whole lot more this week. The only other real thing that we have here, another guy that is eligible to return this week from IR, and that is Tyjae Spears for the Tennessee Titans. Again, not really going to have much relevance in SuperCoach, probably more so in traditional fantasy, but one to watch if you do have Tony Pollard in your SuperCoach team. That might be a way to pivot out. But that's really all of our injuries as we dive in.
Sorry, just quickly, how's Braylon Allen going to be possibly going IR?
Yeah, sorry, Mav. MCL, I think I saw on Braylon Allen. So yeah, 4 to 6 weeks as well. So yeah, that's a massive one. Apologies for missing that. Yeah, so the Jets running back situation looks like it's all going to be Breece Hall. Again, we absolutely hope that Isaiah Davis doesn't get the goal line, but I mean, Breece Hall to the moon. Mav, I'll throw it to you quickly before we get into our trade-ins and trade-outs. Breece Hall currently, I just want to quickly pull up his cost and see how you're feeling about him as we move forward. I know they've got the Cowboys up this week, which is a pretty exploitable defense, but he's just under 13 mil at 12.83, 5% owned. How do you feel about Breece Hall moving forward with this Braylon Allen potential IR stint?
Could be an interesting trading target, my friend. Look, is it going to be bold, ambitious at that price? Maybe 5% owned. So if you want a real pod, is he a long-term piece? I mean, what happens when Braylon Allen comes back in and he's healthy? So does he come back, swap back in and get work off him? Who knows? So Breece Hall's got a real opportunity now to take this backfield and just make it his own. And he's a running back. IJ, I can see you there in the chat, but he's one to monitor. If you want a real pod, that no one might not have, he's got ability to be a top 10 running back in the competition if given the opportunity. So one to watch there, IJ. Keep your eyes on him.
Yeah, no touchdowns as well on the year so far, and they're scheduled out quickly before we get to the trade outs. Dallas, Denver, Carolina, Cincinnati. And then they've got the bye in week 9. So, I mean, like, Denver's really the only one that you're worried about. But, God, 3 out of the 4, he could absolutely go ballistic. Yeah, that's could be a juicy one there. But that's really our injuries. Make sure to tune in for tomorrow night's starts of the week in week 5 preview. We'll have a lot more injury updates, hopefully, by that time. But We'll get straight in to our trade in and trade out segment of this show. And again, starting out with the trade outs, we'll go through each position, kind of go through the top guys that a lot of SuperCoach managers have questions on, and also go through their break evens and how it's looking towards the future over the next couple of weeks and if they're going to be viable. But I'll start things out. Mav, looking at it here in the quarterback position, Lamar Jackson, 29 million. His break even is at 76. And he is potentially out for the next 3 weeks. I know for me, I don't have Lamar. I've got Josh Allen, luckily. And for me, if I have Lamar, I'm definitely moving him out. I think with the bye weeks coming up, it's just not the right timing to have a guy sit on your team that's holding up that much cash, especially with a break even as well as 76. You can, if you trade him out now, I know Secko, I think even yourself was kind of mentioning that you trade him out now and you can bring him back in at the start of week 8 after their bye. You skip that buy, he probably drops a couple of million in the process, and then you can pick up Lamar Jackson there at a nice hefty discount there. And I'll throw another one quickly before going to you, Mav, on what you think in the quarterback trade outs. Jared Goff, 23 million, currently Detroit Lions quarterback. Goff, he's just been, besides that Chicago Bears game where he threw for 5 touchdowns and made a statement, been pretty ordinary. The Lions rather, they just rely a whole heap on that running game. And Jimmy Gibbs, David Montgomery, they can get at least 2 touchdowns a game between that pairing themselves, which doesn't leave a lot of meat left on the bone for Jared Goff. And again, 23 million, 69 break even. Can't see him hitting that. He's definitely going to be losing cash. So if you do have Goff out there, he is a good option to trade out as we head into week 5. But Mav, for you in the quarterback position, what trade out candidates do you have for us?
Yeah, Lamar would be definitely one, my friend. Lamar would definitely be one. You said it perfectly before. If he misses multiple weeks and he's out for 3 weeks, during bye weeks or during even with no coverage, I suppose. I mean, if you have JJ McCarthy on your bench, then he's not playing either. So you probably have to just move him on, or you have Cam Ward, right? Who's obviously not fantasy relevant to be any sort of starting lineup at the moment. He's just there for cash gen. Realistically, if you do have him, he's not startable. So you'd have to move Lamar Jackson on, most definitely. His break even is 76. So you could actually wait till he comes back from his bye. He'll play that week and then drop probably, depending on how he goes in that given week, he could drop $2 million, for example, and get a real juicy price the week after to trade in for. That'd be like week 9, week 10, somewhere around there. Possibly he could be a real juicy price. So that's probably my planning behind it. But he has to be definitely traded, I reckon. There's still Bo Nix owners in this league, in this game. Not many of them. There's only 410 of them. But again, he's been okay. He's got a break even of 35. He's averaging 34 points a game. He's currently the QB 14 on the year. So he's not really doing too much in SuperCoach wise. So you're holding him, he's treading water, he's not really doing much. He's not really winning your matchups, he's not really losing your matchups. He's just there. So he's not getting you any money at all. He's just hovering around the similar price, and he probably could for the whole year unless he starts really taking that next step in his career. Justin Herbert for me is another one that's probably got to go. If you do own him, again, there's not many of them around, I don't believe. Sorry, I lied. There's 1,061 of them, and he's sort of got a high break even of 47, achievable, but again, hovering around that same amount. But he is QB9, so at least he has some value in the league. Top 10 QBs okay, but again, very limited on what he can do when he has no rushing upside. And Kyler Murray, I can also see on this list as well, is also looking like he would be a trade-out candidate. He's been pretty pox, QB 15 on the year, but there's only 199 of you that actually own him. So if you do have him, cool, time to go. If you don't have him, don't trade him in.
Yeah, love it. Yes, definitely steer clear of Kyler Murray. It looks like he's a low ownership percentage, which we do love to see. But Justin Herbert, I just want to touch on him quickly before we move on to the running backs. to some people, it might come off as a bit controversial with how hot Herbert did start off the year, beating the Chiefs in Brazil, ends up, being 3-0 to start things off all against division rivals. But the Chargers did lose their star tackle in Joe Alt. It looks like he'll be out for 3 weeks with that high ankle after losing their other star tackle in Rashawn Slater at the start of the year for the whole season. With that Slater and now with that Alt, that offensive line is definitely shaky for Herbert, and you could tell against that game against the Giants. Of course, the Giants have a nice pass rush and also big, sexy Dexter Lawrence up in the middle as well. They just couldn't stop anything when Alt went down. So, yeah, while those injuries to that offensive line are taking place, Herbert is a nice one to move. And, yeah, you nailed it there, Mav. Break even of 47 as well, which might be a bit tough for him to keep up if they're probably planning on running the ball a lot more with Joe Alt out. But onto the running back position. This one as well might be a little bit controversial, but I wanted to see what your thoughts were on this, Mav, purely based on it being his buy. Bijan Robinson, 21.34 million. His break even is a low 34. So again, it's definitely slated to make on money. But I know, looking at me, I've got the luxury of adding him on the bench because I've still got Genty and Hampton. I can kind of slot both of those guys straight in and cover the buys. But if you don't have that luxury, are you looking to move Bijan Robinson while he's on bye this week?
No, definitely not. He's a keeper for the remainder of the year. He's currently the RB4 on the year for SuperCoach. So he's looking like he's really, really solid. So we don't trade keepers, I reckon. Well, in my opinion, and he's definitely a keeper. Also, despite him being on bye, doesn't bother me. You should have enough bench talent or depth as such that you should be able to sub in. Genty, Hampton. Some guys will still hold Travion Henderson. Some guys will still have Judkins or have Judkins now or Cam Scatterbo. So there should be plenty of options there to sub in case of Bijan. You probably won't get the same output as Bijan, but it's only a week. So, everyone has a buy eventually. Unfortunately, Bijan's early and it's in week 4. So, no, he's a keeper, 100%.
Yeah, I love it. And who did you have here in the running back position here, Mav, for a trade out target?
Well, mate, Saquon Barkley is actually an interesting one, right? I mean, he's currently the RB12, right? His break even is 63. Okay. So he's meant to be losing projection of about $1.6 million is his projected dollar change as such. So that's going to set him down to, depending on how he goes this week, it's going to set him down to about $18 million, give or take. 18 and a half, or probably, well, 18, high 18s is probably what he's looking at. So they've got Denver this week, and they've got a really good run defense. So again, we're going to be worried about how he goes. Is he a trade candidate to trade out? Absolutely. But he could be juicy in a few weeks, 2-3 weeks. I'm not sure when their buy is, but
Week 9.
Week 9. So he could be juicy in a couple of weeks to just trade in when he's dirt cheap. But again, RB12, surprisingly, Amari and Hampton, who's had a pretty average start to the year, has actually got more points than Saquon Barkley in SuperCoach, and Ashton Genty, who's definitely had a worse start than Saquon Barkley, he's got the same amount of points. No one would have thought that or predicted that after week 3, really, would they? So they're right back in the heart of it now. These two rookie running backs, and Saquon still sitting at RB12, just hovering, not really doing a hell of a lot. And there's 12,450 owners that are sitting there going, what the hell do I do with him? Do I keep him? Do I trade him? What's the long game here? Do I move him on to like a Gibbs, or do I move him on to a McCaffrey or a Jonathan Taylor or a James Cook, the guys who are actually performing, or a Josh Jacobs on bias, so probably not him. But those guys that I just mentioned is reasonable, fair, and you can always move in Saquon Barkley in a few weeks' time. But again, I don't like moving premiums for the sake of moving premiums as well. So I understand both ways.
Yeah, and especially again throughout the buys, if you do have the luxury, perhaps, but if you don't and you need to hold him, just hang on to a trade. He's got the Broncos this week. It is going to be a tough matchup, but it is Saquon. He doesn't need much to give us some nice fantasy production. The other name here, Mav, that I wanted to throw to you, Derrick Henry, running back for the Ravens. Without Lamar, that whole offense takes a massive hit. His touchdown upside goes down. But in turn, I feel like the Ravens are going to have to make him the offense. They're going to have to revolve everything they do around Derrick Henry, so more opportunities. They do have the Texans this week, which historically Derrick Henry has absolutely killed the Texans in his career, but 17.26 million, break even of 58. If you do have Henry there, and it is kind of, you have the luxury, you've got trades, you've got buy coverage. Is he a player that you're looking to move out from?
Well, again, projected dollar change of my $1.6 million he could lose this week based off how he goes. Again, without Lamar Jackson, they're going to stack the box and make sure that he's the one that doesn't beat them, and Cooper Rush is the one that beats them, if that's the case. So again, Derrick Henry is going to be at a juicy price, high 15s after week 5, depending on how he goes, obviously. But yeah, $15 million. You could almost straight swap him for Hampton or Genty nearly at this point in time in a week or two. So that's really juicy, isn't it? A straight swap for a primo is awesome. But again, he's been pretty average so far this year, Derrick Henry. I mean, again, yards per carry has been pretty good, but game script obviously, and not getting touchdowns and fumbling the football is definitely something that hasn't been going his way. So if you owned him, I think he probably would move on from him, to be honest with you. If Lamar misses 3 weeks, or he misses 2 plus his bye, yeah, Henry's going to struggle. He is. The box will be stacked. So I would look to move him on. Absolutely.
Yeah,
but again,
I love
it depends if you have luxury trades. Yeah, luxury trades are key. If you've got bigger holes than Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, I understand you have to move them on other players to fix that. Like Jamar Chase would be another one. We'll mention him a bit later on, but there could be some bigger holes in your roster that you might need to move on in this game. So if you've got luxury trades and you have the ability to move these guys on, and it's not going to affect other trades that you do, then yeah, absolutely, you can do that. But if you don't, then don't force it.
And a couple of quick and easy ones we don't really need to spend too much time on, but I will. DeAndre Swift, he's at 12.81 million. He's on buy this week, owned by 590 managers. If you do have him, get rid of him. He's on buy, even better, gives you a nice excuse, even though you don't need one. But Swift is just not what we'd hoped, and they are definitely looking to pass the ball more than run in Chicago. And also Chase Brown as well. We've been banging on moving on this guy for the last couple of weeks, but he's still at 7% owned. So if you are watching this and you do have Chase Brown, the Bengals are just a train wreck. I mean, they in the game against Broncos in week 4, they had more penalties than first downs for that offense. They just couldn't move anything. Chase Brown, he did see a little bit more work, but he really, for the cost and just with how we expect the offense to look moving forward, they are just absolutely horrid. So 12.71 mil, you can definitely make the move to a couple of rookies that we maybe touch on later on. So move on from him. But before we get to the wide receivers, Mav, did you have anything to say on Chase Brown or any other running backs that you're looking to trade out?
Yep, I do. Chase Brown has currently been outscored by Bill Krosky Merritt, 63 points. Nick Chubb has outscored him by 2 points. And so has Woody Marks, has outscored Chase Brown by 7 points. So that's how well Chase Brown has been going this year. So there's not many. There's still 2,000 owners that have him, and if you still own him, he got to go. He got to go. So RJ Harvey's 1 point behind, and we know his start has been pretty pox as well. So Chase Brown really in the mud there with those players I just mentioned. If he's around that market, it's proof that he's got to go.
He's got to go. And also David Montgomery is also a nice little one as well. If you are holding on to him, 4.3%, over 1,300 managers. Pretty surprising. David Montgomery, we saw what he did a couple of weeks ago against the Baltimore Ravens, 57 SuperCoach points. Week 4 against the Browns, he put up 2. All the work went to Jahmyr Gibbs. He's the clear second running back in this offense behind Jahmyr Gibbs, and 16.95 million as well. So again, luxury trade, but if you don't have that, then we might be able to hold on to him to get you through the bye weeks. But wide receiver in our trade out segment here tonight, Mav, from the top, the Bengals boys in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Jamar Chase, 19.9 million. His break even is a whopping 84. And T. Higgins, 13.44 million. And his break even is 58. So looking at this, I mean, absolute train wreck against the Broncos, a very tough defense, and also they just couldn't do anything with all those penalties they were copying on the offense. I know for me, I do have Jamar Chase, but with the buys, I don't. I've got both of my bench players on buy, so I'm looking to hold Jamar Chase for this week. Hopefully, a nice little bounce back after the poor 9 he put up. But Higgins, I think probably a must move. But how are you feeling about Jamar Chase as we cover the buys for week 5?
Oof. Jamar Chase, break even of 84, projected to lose about $3 million. So he's going to go down to about $16-17 million. He's high 19.9s at the moment, so he's nearly 20 mil. So yeah, 16, depending on how he goes. Detroit, Detroit's secondary hasn't been that great, so there's opportunity there for him. Again, I mentioned Jamar Chase yesterday on our fantasy, traditional fantasy show. That Jamar Chase has actually come up against 2 solid defenses the last 2 weeks. I know Jake Brown's pretty crap, but they have Denver and the LA Rams, I believe it was, memory.
Minnesota Vikings. So yeah,
sorry, the Vikings.
A very
So
good
we're talking
defense.
about 2 top 5 defenses there with cornerbacks that are elite too. So yeah, he look, is he a trade out target? Absolutely. Do you pull the trigger? Maybe. Depends on what your situation is. If you own Tyreek Hill, if you own Malik Neighbors, they're 2 that'll tie into this conversation as well. They have to go, obviously, for obvious reasons, obviously for injury. So they have to go, those 2. So if you're forced in a position where you already have to move Neighbors on, you probably haven't got the ability to move on Chase. You might have to move on a running back or Lamar Jackson, or depending on what else you've got in your situation. I guess every team's different, but if you haven't got that luxury, then maybe you can move Jamar Chase, maybe chuck in an extra couple of $1 million and go for the Puka Nacua, who's obviously the wide receiver 1 so far, or do you go backwards and trade Jamar for George Pickens? There's a couple of things you can probably do there. George Pickens in itself is not a bad one, but yeah, Jamar Chase, yeah, it's team dependent. On my squad, he's probably going to stay. Again, I just want to check out his future schedule just real quickly, just to support this. All right. So we've got Detroit, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, and the Jets the next 4 weeks. And that's pretty tough. Detroit should be okay, and then Green Bay, Pittsburgh, the Jets should give him a little bit of grief. But then again, it is Jamar Chase, right? He's good enough to come around. He has any corner, he'll make him look good or bad. Sorry. So yeah, look, I'm holding personally, and I know it's going to cost me a lot of money by holding him, but yeah, that's probably where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm the same. When it comes to buys, it's just too tricky to try and manage. And if you can, bring in someone that's gonna play and still cover all the wide receiver spots, it's definitely the right move to make. But if you have Higgins and it looks like only 1.5%, just under 500 players do, move off him. Higgins isn't on the same level as Jamar Chase, and his production is just going to keep taking a big hit with Joe Burrow out. Again, to touch on, like you said, Mav, Tyreek Hill and Malik Neighbors, they both sustained season-ending injuries for this year. I will also quickly pull up. We did have a quick comment in the chat here from Samuel Leaves. And guys, thanks heaps for throwing in all these comments. We'll get to them at the end of the show. But this one from Samuel might be a dumb question, but is there any benefits to keeping Tyreek in fantasy or just drop him? And not a dumb question. Well, good, but a nice, easy answer is drop Tyreek. There's no point in keeping him in Dynasty, only in traditional fantasy. That's the only thing that might be worth it. But yeah, in SuperCoach and also traditional redraft, move him. He's not coming back this year. Another easy trade out target, if you do have Chris Godwin, he's got a massive break even of 60. He's 18.94 mil. 400 fantasy SuperCoach owners do have him there. Again, without Mike Evans, he will see a lot more work, but not enough to warrant that break even of 60. He's definitely going to be losing some cash. And another clear trade out target before going to you, Mav, with any other options that you might have for us. Ladd McConkey, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers. He looks like their 3rd best wide receiver in terms of the box score. He still looks very good out there on the field, but they're just They're giving it all to Quinton Johnston. I thought this would be done by now, but it's week 4 and nothing's changed. His targets are staying as high as ever. And Keenan Allen has just been scoring touchdowns for fun and getting some real consistent work. So Lad McConkey, if you have him, 11.24 million and his break even is 44, he can go as well. But Mav, in this wide receiver position, any other players that you're looking to trade out if you do have them on roster?
Here's one for you. This wasn't on our list here, but what do you do with Roma Dunze? Okay. Now, Roma Dunze is currently at about 14 million or 13.960. So he's pretty much $14 million in cash. So it's not a bad price. His break even's still pretty low. It's 17. It's still 17. So he's going to make some money for you still when he plays his next game. He's got the bye this week, right? But also, at the same time, I don't think Roma Dunze is a keeper for SuperCoach. He look, unless I'm completely wrong and he serves me wrong and he just dominates the rest of the year, I don't think he's a keeper. Do you go and spend an extra $5, $6, $7 million if you've got that in the bank and try and get an Amon-Ra St. Brown or a Buka Nakua or upgrade that position right now to solidify a top wide receiver? If you've got the luxury trade, I think so. If you don't, you probably should hold on to it for a week. And he can generate some more money, and then the week after you could probably do it. So he could be a trade out candidate for some people. He's in my team. I've got $6 million in the bank. I could physically myself do it if I downgrade Jamar Chase or something, or I can figure things around that I could actually move Roma Dunze on for an upgrade. But I don't know yet. I haven't actually done my trades, so I'll have to sit down tonight after the show and go through them properly. But Dunze, it could be a trade target or a trade out target for somebody out there.
Yeah, I think for sure, if you don't have that buy coverage already on your bench and you'll need that starting wide receiver, I think, yeah, he probably is a good move, Mav. And even better if you do have some more cash in the bank to upgrade to a premium, a Amon-Ra, Puka, or even if you wanted to move to someone that we'll probably touch on later on, in that 15 to 16 million range, definitely the move to make if you do have the luxury on. A couple more players that I'll just kind of speed run through here before we get to tight ends. Keon Coleman, 8.65 million, break even of 26. We did touch on him in another show earlier this week. He's going to be game scripted out of a lot of games for Buffalo because they're just going to be dominating. They've got a pretty easy schedule compared to the rest of the top ranked teams come up for the rest of season. So again, they just might not need Keon for a lot of it. A lot of the games is going to be through Josh Allen, James Cook, and it'll be spread out amongst all the pass catching options there. So if you do have him, enjoy the bit of cash that you did make, but I think it's time to go. And also Calvin Ridley for the Tennessee Titans, 8.79 mil, 32 break even. Just looks horrid. Apparently he was dealing with an injury as well from last week against the Texans. And yeah, the Titans as well as a whole, Cam Ward just doesn't look like he's quite there yet. And of course, he is a rookie. He will take more time to get accustomed. But for Calvin Ridley, if you do have him, I think he can go as well. Anyone quickly from you, Mav, that you just want to throw out there before we get to tight ends?
Travis Hunter would be another one too. I can see Punter there in the chat. We got there at the same time. He's currently got a break even of 8, and he averages 8 points a game. So he might not even hit that break even based off that. Yes, he's been switching to offense and defense a lot. Again, for an NFL move, it's probably not too bad, but for a SuperCoach or fantasy perspective, it's pretty awful. So you can move him on, absolutely. What did he have? What was his snap percentage last week? It was 56% was his snap percentage on offense last week. So, a bit more than half the game on the field and saw 5 targets. So he's not really getting uber targeted or anything like that. And he's not really, he hasn't had a touchdown this year. So he would be one to trade out. But again, who do you move on to at the rookie wide receiver room? There's not really a lot of options. Golden's got his bye this week if you wanted to do a sideways trade. That's probably not it, the move to make. But there's no one else to really move on. So unfortunately, Travis Hunter's in my team, and I've got a Dunze so far on bye, and somebody else in my starters. Drake London, I think, is the other one that I've got. So at this current point in time, Travis Hunter is in my starting lineup, and that's not a good thing. So I'm going to have to fix that. Maybe a Dunze has to go so I don't play Travis Hunter because he can't score in SuperCoach yet. He can't. He's not playing He's not seen enough snaps, and I don't trust Trevor Lawrence, to be fair, either, to make him fantasy relevant.
Yeah, I love that one. It's hard to move off someone that cheap, but he's just not going to produce anything for you moving forward. But tight end position, start off with it with the top, the one that I know I've been getting a whole heap of questions on. Brock Bowers, 11.85 mil, break even of 33. Again, that offense as a whole, I mean, last week it was all Genty. They didn't need Brock Bowers. And Brock Bowers, who did deal with that knee injury during week 1, and he's kind of slowly ramping up, getting back to where he needs to be. But he's been hemorrhaging cash at the moment. He's down 1.5 million, 47% owned currently for Brock Bowers. I mean, again, it is bye week. If you do have Tucker Kraft, who's another option, he's on bye. You know, you probably can't afford to move Brock Bowers as of yet. I think he's still going to come good. They do have the Colts this week and Tennessee. So I think against the Colts, they're going to have to move the ball quite a bit, and Bowers will need to get involved with that one. So I'd be hanging on. But how do you feel about Brock Bowers, Mav? And, you know, with bye coverage, is that a move that you'd be looking to make?
No, I don't move him on. I don't at all. Yeah, he's been pretty average. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's the tight end 11 right now in SuperCoach. So again, not what we expected out of Brock Bowers. You know, he's still got that knee brace on. He's playing through injury. So I can understand that. But keep in mind, right? Keep this in mind. Hunter Henry right now is the tight end 1 for SuperCoach, which is crazy to think about that. Jake Ferguson is number 2, and Dalton Kincaid's number 3. Okay. So we're not talking about 3 like fantastic tight ends here that we have to go and get. We don't need any of those tight ends, to be fair. Brock Bowers is only 20 odd points behind them in total points. It's not a hell of a lot in it. We're not talking about like a Chase Brown to like a Jameer Gibbs difference, right? We're talking an extra 20 points here, which isn't 5 points a game on average if you're basing it out for the start of the year. So why burn a trade to try and get a tight end who may score more points, may in any given week? When Brock Bowers is healthy, back to Brock Bowers' self, you'll see plenty more fantasy relevant games. So you're not gaining anything by moving him on, I reckon. Once he's healthy, he's good.
Yeah, I'm with you. And a week 8 bye, so you've got him. He'll be able to get you through a good few weeks there in that tight end position. And we touched on this as well in the I think the last week's trade show. Tight end isn't really a position that you want to be chopping and changing too much. You don't want to be wasting trades. You want to be saving them in the more volatile positions that you have. But in turn, I mean, Kelsey and Laporta, I think if you do have them, Kelsey 9.65 million, 28 break even, and Laporta 8.67 million with a 26 break even, those two can go. I think if you've been holding on to them, make the move. You could pick up Bowers for cheaper than starting, $2.4 million cheaper rather on that one, or even you could go to a Jake Ferg, which we'll touch on in the trade out targets. Again, those two just with how their offenses are looking in production for future. Again, but of course, depends if you have the luxury. But yeah, those two can definitely go. But anyone else here for tight end, Mav, before we quickly move on to the kickers and defense of the trade outs?
Tucker Kraft has been one that's been chucked up on bye this week. But again, he'd be the tight end 1 in SuperCoach if his elbow was a bit longer. He literally fell short on the goal line against the Cowboys. So if he got that touchdown, he'd be the tight end 1. So no, Tucker Kraft should never be traded out. Hold him on your bench for this week. You can play Warren, you can play McBride or Bowers, whoever you got. That's fine. But Tucker Kraft he's looking like very much a keeper in this format for the remainder of the year. So unless injury comes about, then he stays.
Got it. And kickers, Mav, we've only really got one person here, and he is highly owned currently in the SuperCoach community. He is on bye as well. That's why I bring it up. Chris Boswell, kicker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you have him and you say you've got a bench kicker that isn't playing, you might be using that spot for the loop. He's a clear trade out, right? You need to be filling that kicker spot with Boswell on bye.
Yeah, I mean, spot on, man. I'm in that position too. I had Ryan Coe, who's obviously or Co. I don't know what his name is. He doesn't play. But he is currently owned by 13% of owners, and if you still have him on your bench, and you've got a kicker who's on bye, then you have to almost play one, don't you? Or you can just play one short, or play kicker short, and whoever scores your lowest is going to be the guy that you have to hold through on your team, because you obviously lose one short. When the week is finished, your lowest score is no longer counted in your score. But yeah, if you have Boswell, man, again, it's a luxury trade. But yeah, he would be one that if you had to get rid of someone, it would be him. He's going to hemorrhage cash soon, break even to 43. So yeah, he's gonna lose some cash for sure.
And very, very similar with kickers, defense, and tight ends. Again, it's not really a position you want to be trading out too much, but if you do have that bench kicker like that isn't playing like we mentioned, and you do have Chris Boswell like on bye, that's an easy trade out. But for defenses, we've got Steelers and Packers on bye. Again, if you don't have a defense that's active on the bench, then you're going to have to look to trade out those guys and bring someone in. But one that is active this week and that has a massive break even of 43, the Ravens defense, they've looked absolutely horrid to start the year, and they've just been getting absolutely backed when it comes to injuries. I know one of their star Pro Bowl defensive ends, he's out for the year. I think Matabuke is his name there. But Baltimore Ravens, I mean, they've lost 2.6 mil on the year. They're at 14% owned. Again, if you don't have a bench defense that's playing, I think Ravens are a nice clear one to trade out as well.
Yeah, agreed. I'm actually shattered that I didn't start with the Patriots, to be honest with you. They're currently a top defense in this format. They've been really good. So shattered I didn't run with them. I ran with San Fran instead, and looking like it's a pretty bad move. But again, team defenses are so hard to predict, aren't they? It depends on matchups, where the game's played. It could be weather dependent. Could be how QB might have slept badly the night before and he's not ready to go. Like he's in his own head. There's so many factors that happens in a game of football, and defenses might have a big day and they might not. It's a hard position to really sell, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a hard slog, and it's also a hard position to talk about because it's just gross, kickers and defense. But that's our trade outs there. For our trade ins, getting a little bit more positive, starting off with quarterback. I will throw this one out, Mav. It's probably not one that I'm targeting this week, but he is high up there. He doesn't have the bye. Jaden Daniels coming off injury. He is trending towards playing in week 5. Break even is 54, just under 25.2 mil. And also Terry McLaurin is also slated to play, so he should have his full assortment of weapons there. But with Jaden Daniels, are you looking to bring him in? They do have the Chargers, a tough defense there, or would you be waiting to see if he drops in a little bit of cash over the next couple of weeks?
It's a good call, isn't it? I mean, Jaden Daniels, yeah, sure, he's magical on the ground, but does Terry McLaurin play? Not looking likely. Could be out multiple weeks. That's their top wide receiver option there. So if they miss him, then Jaden Daniels is probably going to struggle just a little bit. Yeah, he's got some rushing upside and everything like that. But, especially if you're a Lamar Jackson owner, we're going to have to move to somebody, right? So you got Jaden Daniels there. If he plays, it's not a bad option. You've got Drake May, who's been balling, top 5 QB so far this year in SuperCoach, low break even, $21 million. Going to make some coin along the way. So that's a good option too. He's looking fantastic, isn't he? He's looking really nice. You do have Justin Fields if you want to go a bit lower. He's been balling in his 2 full games that he's played has been really good. And expect this week against the Cowboys, again, more potential to go big. And then you got the Patty Mahomes, right? Patty Mahomes is another one that would come up if you have Lamar to move on to. Patty Mahomes would be definitely a target as well. But, it's not a fantastic option. Doesn't really get me too excited. Where is he ranked right now in SuperCoach? Let's have a quick squiz.
He's number 3.
He is, okay. All right. So he's been better than sort of what I thought. So, yeah, he is. He's number 3. So, pretty good. So I suppose it's a bit of a sideways trade from Lamar to Patty Mahomes. But again, it's only a 3 points per game difference, and you're going to gain $7 million by doing that. So I can understand why you would do that, because you can almost do 2 trades, right? You can almost do Lamar Jackson to Patty Mahomes, gain $7 million, and you can almost go from either a Doomsday to an upgrade or Jamar Chase to an upgrade. So there's plenty you can do there, and $7 million in the bank, $8 million in the bank, Drake May. if you want to go Jalen Hurts, like all three options are fine to get if you got Lamar Jackson, I reckon.
Yeah, I love it. For me, I'm just looking at Drake May's bye. So they have a bye in week 14. So very, very late. He's definitely going to get you through that one. And Patty Mahomes, his bye is a little, I believe it's a little bit later on as well. So his bye is in week 10. So Drake May, he'll buy an extra couple of weeks with those buys there. But again, two very good options. You can't really go wrong. Only about $1 million difference. And they should both hit their break evens with Patty
And a
Mahomes.
point per game difference on average.
Yeah. Point per game difference. Patty Mahomes, he will get Rashee Rice back in week 7. So he'll have his full range of weapons there. And man, like Xavier Worthy made such a difference for the Chiefs in week 4, and having him back, and Patty Mahomes looked pretty good, throwing 4 touchdowns in the process. The only other real guy that I have to mention here, Jackson Dart, he's the cheapest. He's the hotness, 4.3 million, break even of -22. And he's got the bubble next week. So you can wait and see how he looks for another week, I believe, with Jackson Dart, if you do want to make that move, or if you've got trades now that you need some coverage for. Say if you wanted to go from Lamar to Jackson Dart and just go full cash mode, loading up there, he could be a nice little option. But with Jackson Dart for you, Mav, if you did have the luxury of bringing him in, would you be waiting to see how he goes again this week? I know they've got the Saints, and then they've got the Eagles in week 6, so on that bubble. So he might take a bit of a hit. But how are you feeling about Jackson Dart's outlook as we head into week 5?
Yeah, look, no Malik Neighbors is going to hurt, right? It just is. He's the top wide receiver in the competition. He's the top wide receiver at the Giants. So that's 8 to 10 targets a game gone, right? So they're going to be spread around somewhere else. Who's going to step up? Unknown. Who's going to be able to catch those balls and like Malik Neighbors didn't make plays? Unknown. So there's obviously real potential where Dart struggles without a top wide receiver in the competition. So, look, I'd be waiting for more data. They've got a favourable matchup this week, so he could have a good week. But I would be waiting one more week. And again, like if you own Cam Ward, you can move him on for Jackson Dart next week. And if you have McCarthy, you can almost do a sideways trade to get money there. It's if McCarthy is an unknown and we're not sure when he's playing yet. So there's options there that we can do potentially. But again, I would be holding another week of data, see how he goes, and go from there. Again, what happens if he gets in? If you go early, the early crow, and he gets injured, you're screwed, right?
You've wasted a trade.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I'm with you there, Mav. Wait one more week while we have the luxury of doing so while he's on the price bubble. Running backs. We've got a couple of names here. I'm going to take the standout, the cover on our waiver show last night. Woody Marks, running back for the Houston Texans, just under 6.1 mil, break even of -26. It looks like moving forward, he's going to be the RB1 for this team. I think he's going to have a nice big game against that Ravens defense, which has been absolutely horrid against everything the last couple of weeks. He's there. He's a nice cheap option. He's probably the cheapest option that you would have to bring in. So if you're looking for max cash, second cheapest option that we have here, Quinshon Judkins for the Cleveland Browns, 7.35 million, break even of -30, and he looks really good. Quinshon Judkins, he passes the eye test. He is on a pretty poor offense in Cleveland, so it's going to limit his overall touchdowns. But I mean, he's getting all the work. Nobody else is really in his way in that regard. But running back for you, Mav, who we've got Judkins, Woody Marks. Is there anybody else that you're looking to target as a trade-in if you need to this week?
Look, Woody Marks, I don't think I would trade in Woody Marks personally. Again, I also own Judkins and I also own Genty on my bench or Hampton. One of the two, they're interchangeable for my squad. So personally, for me, I don't need to do anything there. So again, Woody Marks will not come into my team. And I assume there's too many good running backs that teams won't be moving on from anyway. So Woody Marks probably won't come in for a lot of teams out there. Judkins probably came in for a lot of teams last week. If you missed the boat, you can still get onto him. He's going to cost you a bit more to jump on. Same with Scatterbo. He's at $9 million now with a -17 break even. So he's still going to make money for you. But again, probably a week or two too late to jump on that train. But again, if you need to, it's an option. Trade Benson's obviously another one there that's still hovering around the mark. He's at $5.64 million. His role was actually really weird on that Friday game against the Seahawks. Yes, the Seahawks had a really good run defense and a good defense in general, but the role was odd. I mean, he was moving the ball really well, I thought, on the ground. He was, 5-6 yards to carry, but only seeing limited carries. And then DeMarcado came on, had that passing touch, the receiving touchdown, and I was thinking, why is it not Benson's touchdown? So I expect Trade Benson to be getting more work, but again, I can't trust Cliff Kingsbury at the moment. He loves using Kyler too much and not using Trade Benson. So let's see how that goes. But again, a trade target if you need him. If desperate play at this point to trade into SuperCoach trade sides, but again, an option. And premium options, Devon A-Chain, I suppose, will see more work, won't he? With Tyreek Hill going down, they have to pound the ball a bit more. I guess him and Ollie Gordon in itself will see more work in general, but A-Chain should see a lot more passing work, especially being a solid receiving back, and obviously a solid floor in the rushing game too.
Yeah, nice premium option there in Devon A-Chain. Love that one. Break even of 41. Well and truly achievable. Before we move on to wide receiver, I will just preface Trey Benson. I completely misread the cost there. Yeah, he definitely is going to be your cheapest running back option, but just kind of stay patient. He's currently day to day for the Cardinals, so he could be a chance to miss this week. But again, we will have more information in tomorrow night. So if you are looking to bring him in, maybe just hold off and wait and see if he is a definite for this week. Moving on to wide receiver, we've got a whole heap of names here. Starting off from the top, so similar to Devon A-Chain with Tyreek Hill going down, he's going to see a lot more work. So is Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle just under 11.2 million, break even of 23. He's been pretty average to start off. He hasn't been getting a lot of looks. He's been bailed out in a couple of games with touchdowns that he's been getting. Didn't have a whole heap more targets when Tyreek Hill left the game. I think it was deep into the second quarter when that injury happened to Tyreek Hill. But even so, that the Dolphins are up. They just kept running the ball with A-Chain in that position there. But Jalen Waddle, he could be a nice little mid-price one, should make you quite a bit of cash. But if you are looking for those premium options, I'll quickly throw these here before throwing to you. Mav Puka, 21.12 million, break even of 18. Looking like the clear wide receiver one for rest of season with how good he's looked and their offense as a whole, not really having any big hits. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, 21.5 million, 34 break even again. Either of those two, if you do need to make the move this week, you can't go wrong with any of them for rest of season. But besides those guys, Mav, do you have anybody else in the wide receivers you'd be looking to bring in for week 5?
So George Pickens at the moment is the number one trade target in the whole of SuperCoach at the moment. 14.5%. Or 2,577 managers have brought in George Pickens. He's got a $14.5 million tag on him with a negative 11 break even. So he's projected to make about $2.6 million this week. So that's going to put him up to about $16.5, $17 million. Which is crazy coin, isn't it? I mean, without CD Lamb, sure. I mean, I can see him sort of balling. I mean, it's a real pass-heavy first offense. Dak loves throwing the pill. Seems like he's got a good connection with George Pickens, so he's a pretty good one to bring in if need be. Their bye, the Cowboys, is in week 10, so you're going to have him for at least 5-6 weeks if need be. Again, you'd probably move George Pickens on when CD comes back. You can almost do a sideways trade between the two of them when CD Lamb comes back because they're going to be at similar prices. CD Lamb's obviously the better receiver, so you can always get him back if you traded him out. I personally did too, but you can always bring him back. It's fine. In this format, we're happy to bring players back at premium costs if they're healthy and playing well. So that is fine. And then we've got Cortland Sutton, man, at $14.6 million is a bit of a juicy option. Break even of 3. Just keeps getting the job done. Does, again, underrated player, isn't he? Just goes about his job any given week. He's had one bad week along the way, but all in all, he's meant to make $1.1 million. He only owned less than 2% owned. He's 1.9% owned. So 604 managers have got him. So if you want something that's a bit under the radar and a pod, Cortland Sutton would be a good one to bring in.
Yeah, and I believe Secko was the one that mentioned in a little chat, nice little Cortland Sutton pod. He's got a week 12 bye as well. So again, during these bye weeks, he could really get you through some nice some times there while we're missing a lot of guys there. So yeah, Cortland Sutton, nice little cheeky pod. And another guy, just for as a little bonus, Garrett Wilson, just under 15.3 mil, break even of 8. Very juicy game up against Dallas this week. They do have Denver in week 6, but then Carolina and Cincinnati before heading into his week 9 bye. So another good option there as well. And he's been pretty solid all in all. Doesn't really matter the quarterback. He is the number one main option on that offense for the New York Jets. Tight end position for trade-in targets. We've got a couple here again. Just to preface, not really a position that we're looking to move out too much, but if you do need to, we do have a couple of nice options. The nice and easy one that'll take away from you, Mav, Jake Ferguson. He's at 9.6 million with a -5 break even. Again, while CD Lamb's out and they're buying week 10, he's a great option. So if you had Kelsey or Laporta, straight into Jake Ferg, that's a nice and easy one for me. And then another cheap option to go along with Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor. He's probably going to be the second cheapest option that we have here. Just over 4 million and a break even of -4. He's been seeing more work as the weeks progress in the NFL. I think he had 5 for 60 odd or something like that in their game. So he's gonna make you a little bit of cash. And besides Garrett Wilson, it's Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Fields is going to run with his legs, and then Mason Taylor as another option in that passing attack there. But besides these couple of tight ends here, Mav, was there anyone else that you wanted to highlight before we move things on?
No, I think that was pretty good. Darren Waller would be one if you're desperate. He's at $3.7 million, -19 break even. But again, he's not in the bubble till next week. So again, we'd probably hold him off for another week. We might mention him again next week to see how he goes. A bit more data, but yeah, he could be if he pops off again, then maybe he's a target. But that's probably next week's discussion. But one to monitor. Outside of that, Ferg is probably the best trade-in target. A -5 break even, I think it is, or -5 break even. So predicted to make $1.2 million, which would take him to about $11 million, just under. So yeah, if you do have Laporta, or just to remember what you said, Laporta or Kelsey or any of those guys, and you're not confident with them, you can definitely move them over to Fergie to make some coin and probably some production too.
And in terms of kickers and defenses, again, not really a position that we're looking to move. If you do have either of your starters in kickers and defenses on bye and you don't have a starter on your bench, you are going to have to make that move around. A couple of nice little targets potentially if you do need to go through that. Let me just kind of look at the matchups here. Arizona, if you don't have them, they are coming up against Tennessee. Very juicy matchup. They could be a nice, easy one. And in terms of a kicker, I mean, Tyler Loop, you probably can't really go wrong with him. He's still cheap. He's probably still going to make another few mil. So he's a nice little option there. But Mav, any real kickers or defenses that stick out to you? I think it'll be nice and short and sweet.
Yeah, very much so. Take who you like. Yeah, it's a position that the best average is 28.7 points per game, and Joey Sly is the best at doing that at the moment in this format. And he actually had a -2 game, which went down as a DMP for some reason. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about kickers. The best kicker had a DMP. So that saved his break even or his average, something shocking. The next best is Spencer Schrader after that, or John Parker Romo for the Atlanta Falcons. He's on bye, so he's not an option. But Spencer Schrader out of the Colts would be the next best, or probably the best outside of him or Aubrey, and he's $11 million. And again, it's a kicker, so tread very carefully.
Yeah, don't spend too much time on kickers and defenses, guys. There's definitely more valuable positions to be targeting. That's it for our trade-ins and trade-outs. As we head into week 5, we will quickly go into highlighting our Unlimited League week 4 top points scored winner. And again, I just have to. It's been awesome to see everybody join in on this Inside Unlimited League. We've got 664 players. Just to ask you quickly, Bab, do you know what your overall rank is? I'm sitting in the middle, 342 out of 664, so not going too hot on my side of the ball. Where are you kind of sitting in the Inside Unlimited League before we bring up the winner for week 4?
Just want to bring that up now. Hang on, sorry. In our Inside Unlimited, was that? Sorry.
Yep.
I'm currently sitting at 333, so dead middle. So very mid at the moment. But again, the team's starting to get going a little bit now. So I'm expecting that to claw back in a little bit in the coming weeks. I had a shocking start, but we're starting to get going now.
Yeah, we really took on the cash is king mantra that you've been mentioning all off season. And yeah, gee, Mav, I'm 0-3 against you. You clipped me in 2 leagues and you're ahead of me in the Inside Unlimited. Just can't catch a break. But
call me daddy.
I shan't be doing that. But with our unlimited winner, I will bring it up, but I will just preface that the winner overall in our unlimited league will be getting a nice custom mini helmet that will be designed by NFL Helmets Down Under. It's going to be very, very nice prize for their overall winner once we close this thing out for the year. And NFL Helmets Down Under, if you do not know, they are a nice partner of the show that we're very proud of. If you are looking for new signed NFL memorabilia, full-sized helmets dropping every week, and also some new jersey mystery boxes that are on the way for players that are very relevant for SuperCoach. So it'd be nice, you pick up a nice jersey supporting the guy that might have won you your week in terms of SuperCoach. Make sure to check those guys out. The link is in the description below on that one there. But pulling up our unlimited winner, 2 girlies, 1 cup. Absolutely love the name. He put up a whopping 642 points this week, which was absolutely killer. I know he topped. Oh, man, he absolutely lapped the field. I think the next best was 628. So even still, massive week for 2 girlies, 1 cup. If you are watching this, Nick, please get in touch and we'll sort out your prize for winning the week. But running through his team, he had the big C on Josh Allen in his starting quarterback position, JJ McCarthy on the bench, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, Travis Etienne, Ashton Genty in his starting running backs with Hampton and Henderson on the bench. Wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Garrett Wilson, Odunze Igbuka, and he had Ted McMillan and Travis Hunter on his bench. Tight ends, Jake Ferg, Tyler Warren, a whopping 58 points from the tight end position there, so well done. Had Tucker Kraft on the bench as well, so he decided to sit him and play Jake Ferg over the top of him. Tyler Loop was his scorer in the kicker. He had Ryan Coe as a DNP in the starting spot. New England Patriots defense, and starting with 22 and 49ers on the bench. A nice sit there in that selection. And Bo Nix, he cashed in against a poor matchup against the Bengals and scored a whopping 53. But so 642, massive effort. Well done again. 2 girlies, 1 cup. Trades for this week that you'd make if you had this team, Mav. I mean, across the board, he's looking pretty good, but what's an area that you'd be looking to move on for in week 5? He does have Rome Odunze and Bijan Robinson on bye, but he'll be able to cover both of those positions. So he's really got all up in arms. He might not even need to make a trade this week, but if he did have to make one, what suggestion would you pick?
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a bit of a luxury at the moment. He holds a lot of premium players in the competition and playing quite well. So a guy I would probably move on. Again, it depends if he's got cash in the bank, which I don't know if he does or doesn't. But if he does, Rome Odunze, you could almost upgrade him straight away to I suppose he's got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Puka already. So there's a possible upgrade option there in Odunze. And then, or we can upgrade Bo Nix, I suppose, would be another one he could cash in on as well and take him to Patty Mahomes or a Jalen Hurts or something like that as well if need be. But it depends on money in the bank. He can't really downgrade anyone unless you want to move Travion Henderson on. But outside of that, it's looking pretty clean for his squad. He's sitting quite nicely. You can move on Barkley if you want to do that. As well, but yeah, all in all, he's looking pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely ripping team. I wish I had this team. He was ranked 7th overall for week 4 in all of NFL SuperCoach. So an absolute cracking job to 2 girlies, 1 cup. Nick, if you are watching this again, please get in touch and we will organize your gift for you. But that will really conclude the main meat of the show. We'll quickly jump into some comments and get through these for everybody that's been sticking around. Thanks heaps. But if you are following us live here on YouTube, please hit that like button and that subscribe. Ring that bell. We'll be here Monday to Thursday each week throughout the whole season, dropping content in SuperCoach and also traditional fantasy. So if you want to stay in tune and keep up to date with all of that, make sure to hit that subscribe and help support the stream. We really do love it. But moving on to our comments, we'll quickly run through these. I believe we touch on some throughout the show, but we will go through all. From Theo, question: I didn't watch it. Why did the Patriots go from 34 to 22 points? What did they lose? As some places on the app says 34 and some says 22. So with this, New England, they put up 22 in SuperCoach. Again, this could be maybe a bit of a variance between a couple of different formats here. So I'm not 100% sure on that. But in terms of SuperCoach, I can see here they definitely put up 22. So yeah, it could have been some adjustments that were made throughout it. Lachlan Hammond, how are you, lads? Great, mate. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the comment. IJ, who has been pumping up the comments. We love to see it. Evening to you, IJ. First game tomorrow, lads. So it will be Friday morning for us, Thursday night over in the States. First game is the 49ers taking on the Rams in a nice little divisional matchup. Lamar to Mahomes, we did touch on that, is a nice option. It's either going to be Mahomes or May. Lachlan Hammond, is there a way to DM you as I have a question about VC looping? Lachlan, we will have our captain's huddle that will be dropping in the morning at 6:30. We cover a lot of looping kind of questions in that and also give a nice couple of options. But if we don't answer that throughout those shows, get in touch with us on social media. Here, all of our handles are in the description below. Myself at Mullin_FF and Mav at IFS Maverick on X. So get in touch with either of us or even comment on this video below or in our captain's huddle that we drop in the morning. We'll be able to get back to you as we can. IJ, Mostert to Hall. Absolutely. If you're having Mostert, that's a nice easy one. I won't even throw that one to Mav to cover. Hall's going to be a nice in. And if you do have cash, we've answered Samuel's there. Jordan L, faded CMC to start the season. Is he still worth getting in? So Mav, throwing to you, he's at 20.28 million. Currently, his buy, as I quickly look up this, they do have a week 14 buy, so you're going to get plenty of time with CMC before they move around. If you faded him, and you did need to make a trade this week, would CMC be a nice target?
Yeah, he could be. He could be. Again, depends who you move out and what money you're actually spending and what you have in the bank. But yeah, sure, fine. CMC is a keeper. Going to see plenty of volume, plenty of work. So yeah, I think it's safe, very safe.
Love it. And Oliver Davies, would you keep Javonte Williams? Looking at it here, they've got the Jets, Carolina, Washington, Denver, Arizona the next 5 weeks. They do have a week 10 bye. Probably throughout this bye period, if you can hold on to Javonte and fill in those gaps as needed. But if not, if you've got plenty of coverage on the bench, it could be a nice little time to cash in. I'm not too sure what his break even is, Mab, if you had that one there. I assume it's still pretty high. He scored 35 last week. He'd still be making you some cash.
Yep. It's currently 16, so I would hold him personally. He scored 35 last week. Jimmy Gibbs scored 33. He's currently RB6 in SuperCoach. So, yep, no reason why you get off him just yet. So just keep on playing him until you see regression. But at this point, hold.
I'm the same there. The Smitty, thoughts on Dylan Gabriel? Yeah, he could get a start very shortly. The Browns haven't looked too good. Flacco's looked absolutely horrid. And by all reports, Dylan Gabriel is the next man up. So again, until anything's confirmed, no point in moving or doing anything in either formats. But yeah, he could get a start soon for the Cleveland Browns. Daniel Vensky, thanks for throwing this comment in. I'm debating Jamar to Amon-Ra, but it feels like this is Amon-Ra's peak. He's not going to average 1.5 TDs per week forever, and Jamar just versus the two best defenses and will improve. Is Jamar worth a hold? Purely for me, I'm holding him this week because I don't have enough startable bench wide receivers. And I think for you as well, Mav, are you looking to move? I mean, if you do have a luxury, again, you've got wide receiver coverage. Would you move from Chase to Amon-Ra, or would you hold Chase for another week?
Yeah, it depends on your landscape of your team, isn't it? So if you've got the ability to do so, sure, no questions asked, I would. But outside of that, I think Chase should get better. I think it's a good call. He did play two really solid defenses. So I expect him to I mean, his score was horrible last week. It was there was single digits. So that probably won't happen again for the remainder of the year, despite Jake Browning under center. So, yep, understand the fact that, yes, you can hold him, but he's also going to lose you $3 million possibly this week as well. So you're going to take a big hit for making money. But yeah, if you want to hold him because you got other holes, and I understand that too. And it's the same with my team. Yeah, so I'll check, see what I do, but I'm most likely going to be holding Jamar Chase, I think, at this point too.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Jack M, when we're on board with you here, Justin Field season, Dallas, Denver, Carolina, Cincy, Cleveland, New England. Yeah, he's got a very nice, juicy matchup lining up for Justin Field. So he's a nice little target as well if you do need to move off Lamar this week. IJ, I can trade CMC in with 2 mil in the bank, or should I get Pickens and have 8.13 mil in the bank? Trade in. So it depends, I guess, who you're trading out for CMC and also with George Pickens. But if you had the luxury, Mav, out of trading in CMC or rolling in with Pickens, who would you prefer? And with that 6 mil in the bank difference, if you pick up Pickens over CMC,
probably CMC because he's a lock for the remainder of the year. He's a keeper premium player. If you trade Pickens in, you're going to trade him out at some point. So you're probably going to be burning 2 trades versus burning 1. So I would probably go down the CMC if we had to compare. Probably CMC.
Yeah, I'm there with you. From Blue Ballers, Genty or Judkins on field this week? I think Judkins, as Genty has the Colts defense, and looking at it, Judkins is going up against Minnesota in London. I think for me, I actually probably lean more towards Genty. I just think that the Raiders offense, they're going to move the ball downfield a whole lot. He looked absolutely stunning last week, and I think he's just going to get more work as the Raiders have realized just how good he is. And even if the O-line is a bit horrid at the moment, he can make it work. And yeah, Judkins overall, I just don't think the touchdown upside will be there. How are you on this one? Mav, are you Genty or Judkins for this week?
It's much of a muchness, isn't it? You play the matchups, you could still be wrong. Again, it takes one long touchdown on one play and help score points. But I think I am rolling with Genty as well at this point. It looks like hopefully he's had his breakout game and he just keeps on getting that confidence and letting it go. Probably a better matchup for him, but yeah, I think Genty's a better player, obviously. Yeah, I'll roll with Genty.
I'm there with you. A couple more comments here from IJ. Is Worthy worth a trade in here, Mav? I'll quickly pull up his cost to give it to you. He's 11.5 million, so fairly cheap, 3% owned. The Chiefs, they have a bye later on, I believe. I think it is week 10. Rashee Rice is back in a couple of weeks. It would Worthy be a nice option for you, as I believe he's on the bubble. He'll be on the bubble after this. Oh no, yeah, after this week against Detroit. So yeah, we'll see another 2 games before his price goes up. So what are you looking to do with Worthy, Mav?
Nah, not interested.
Not interested. And if you are, again, you could kind of hold out while he's on that bubble. You could wait a week and look for Worthy. Odunze, a trade out in wide receiver spot for Pickens. Yeah, if you need to, if you don't have buy coverage, IJ, Odunze trade out for Pickens is a nice one, and you will make some nice cash. Blue Ballers, what's your guys' verdict on Quentin Johnston? Lots of fantasy people don't like him. And honestly, for the most part, no, I'll speak on your behalf too, Mav, because I think at the start of the year, we were all in line. Quentin Johnston wasn't really going to be anything special, but this Chargers offense has just surprised us. He's come out the gate. He's looking like their wide receiver 1, and then I don't really think that's going to change after 4 weeks. He's continued to see a heap of targets in the red zone threat. So fantasy people don't like him because he let us down for the first 2 years, but a year 3 breakout well and truly could be on the cards for Quentin Johnston. So if you hold him, if you do have him in either, I think he'd be looking to hold for now. Quickly, Jack M. Bucky Irving seeking second opinion on injury too, so he looks like a trade, unfortunately. Yeah, if you do have him, again, hold out and see if he does miss this week before trading out. You could save yourself a trade. Punter, and I believe Mav hit on this one. What do we do, Travis Hunter on the bench or bring in a moneymaker around under 10 mil? Again, we're probably, if you can, or if you do have the luxury, of course, it feels like a bit of a broken record saying that this week with the buy starting, but look to trade Travis Hunter if you can. His break even's 8. He's been averaging 8. He'll probably look to lose a bit of money as you go on there. So you could definitely bring in someone if you need to. Mav, how do you feel about JSN this year? IJ would like to know thoughts on his role as being the wide receiver 1 for the Seahawks.
I mean, he was pretty bad. Not bad, but didn't produce in fantasy last week against the Cardinals. But again, he seems like he's a very focal point in the offense. I think he's safe. I think he's fine. So yeah, I think he could be potentially a top 6, top 7 player in his position and a lock for SuperCoach, definitely. So if you want to bring him in, no issue at all.
Yeah, and he's only had 1 touchdown as well, so he's been purely producing on his base stats in the week 8 bye. So if you do bring him in, you'll have him for a nice couple of weeks. What do we have here? Another one from IJ. Is Isaiah likely a trade out? Will he get any game time? I believe he didn't really get anything last week as he's coming off that injury. He probably will get some more work this game against the Houston Texans. But yeah, one to monitor and wait and see. In traditional fantasy, you're probably just looking to hold, but if you have him in SuperCoach, I think you can get rid of him. Blue Bullets, there's only one goat, Aubrey. Mav can definitely agree there, and I'm sure so can the Cowboys. IJ, play Colts or Cardinals this week. Personally, I'm playing the Cardinals because they have the Tennessee Titans. So that's just, I think they're going to absolutely smash Cam Ward and those guys, and the Colts have the Raiders, so there could be some points scored in this game. Are you kind of leaning that way as well, Mav? Cardinals over Colts?
Defenses, man, I hate them. Flip a coin.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's gross. And IJ, Drake May or Mahomes? Honestly, either or for Lamar. I'd personally probably go Drake May purely because he is $1 million cheaper, and his bye is in week 14, I believe, where Mahomes is like week 10 or 12, so you get a couple of extra weeks. And then punter, trade Chase, $19.9 million to the Brown Devil, $21.5 million, or Justin Jefferson, $16.1, or Quinton Johnson, or Pickens, or Wilson there. So, Mav, out of these ones here, the Brown Devil, I'm assuming that is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Can't think of any other brands that would be priced that high. But out of these guys here, if you are moving at Jamar Chase, who's your number one option to bring in?
It'd probably be between either Amon-Ra St. Brown or Justin Jefferson. Quinton Johnston, again, he's not a keeper. So we'd be moving him in to move him out. George Pickens, if you want to make some money, I get it. I understand. Or Garrett Wilson, very favourable matchup this week. So it's probably between me. I'd probably go to the Brown Devil personally. That's who I'd probably go to spend the money. Only a couple $1 million to get up. And then you got a keeper. The rest of them, you're going to have to try and trade out at some point, I reckon, apart from Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I'm the same. There. If you've got the extra cash, do that. If you want to go for a bit cheaper, either Pickens or Wilson, you can't really go wrong. Daniel Vensky, thanks for throwing this in. Would you stay patient with Daniel Jones? Couple of poor weeks, and looks like he's about to start losing money again. So they have the Raiders this week. Definitely a matchup that they can exploit. But looking at Indiana quickly coming up, what do they have here? So they've got the Raiders, Cardinals, Chargers, Tennessee, and then Pittsburgh. Next few weeks, he probably could still get you a bit of cash there. But Mav, are you looking to flip Daniel Jones? They do have a week 11 bye.
Nah, keep holding for now. They've been pretty good, so yeah, keep playing the hot hand. There's no reason why you'd move off unless you want to upgrade. But again, just keep rolling, I reckon.
Love it. And Luke Wiskowski, better going Chase to St. Brown, $2 million left in bank, or to Pickens with $10 million left in the bank. Already have Puka, so thinking maybe best to lock in another safe long-term option. And I think we're on board with you there, Luke. Again, Mav touched on it in that earlier question. If you can bring in St. Brown, he's going to be a keeper for the rest of the year. Definitely bring him in there. So it really depends on if you want to make a bit of cash or stay sturdy, but you're on the side of bringing in Amon-Ra St. Brown. Punter, where's the B team? Secko and DFAB. DFAB, he should be back next week, and also Secko as well. They're just, schedules didn't line up this week, but those guys are going to be ready to roar in week or after week 5 next week. Lachlan Hammond, if I VC Puka and he has a great game and want to keep it, leave Cohen and captain him. Then if he doesn't play captain Worth, I just switch the captaincy to another player rather than Cohen use loop. So Lachlan, if this is your looping option, that's definitely the way to play it. I know for me, I'll be putting the VC on Puka this week as he is starting. And if you've got that's exactly it. Throw the big C on him if you do like Puka's score, and you can easily loop. That's how that system works. And with Code not being a starter, your bench kicker those points will come in once that rolls around there. So RJ, why are there buys? Are they to give players a rest, not to not overdo it? Shouldn't be any buys as there are even amount of teams. Just the scheduling, nice for each team to have a nice break in the NFL, similar to every other sport out there that's going. These players, I mean, NFL in particular, they take some big hits, these boys. So if they get a break throughout the year, they're definitely going to take it. And it helps with scheduling as well through there. So Kizza, shout out for the Moes. Mullin, Maverick, grow Moes, unlike Deadly. I've seen a couple of comments of Deadly just catching strays when it comes to Moes. So that's absolutely hilarious. And I mean, Mav, he can grow the Mo, he can grow the full beard, he got the full package there. I unfortunately cannot. Not even close. Won't even attempt to try it. But
I'll have to shave the beard and go the Mo, see what it looks like.
I think you might have to, Mav. We might be starting something here on the Inside NFL pod. And our last but not least, Lachlan Hammond, play the Jags or the Panthers in defense. I'll quickly pull up this one here. The Panthers are versing Miami. I think Miami will probably be able to score on the Panthers, and the Jags, in turn, they are versing Kansas City. So again, pretty tough there, Mav. Which one are you looking to start if you had to choose out of those two?
Flip a coin. Heads, Jags. Tails, Panthers. Probably the Jags. Like again, the Panthers could throw pick sixes. And Bryce Young could throw pick sixes. So probably the Jags.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there on the Jags. Their defensive line has looked pretty solid too, and the Chiefs' offensive line isn't too hot. But gents, thanks heaps for all those comments in here. We do really appreciate it. Yeah, I like this one here from Lachlan Hammond. Wasn't 100 minutes yet, just over 80, so we're creeping up there. But again, we will have our captain's huddle dropping in the morning at 6:30. So if you have any questions around vice captaining, loopholes, and captain options for week 5, make sure to tune in that. It will be a nice, easy, digestible 15 or so minutes in there. And also switching back
to work.
Yeah,
on my night at work. Easy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a nice little one. Or if you're looking to take your morning bowel movement and you like to have a nice little break from the outside world, I mean, 15 minutes, I'm sure people out there have spent longer than that on the toilet battling first thing in the morning. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Just depends on how you're feeling as you wake up. And also our week 5 preview and starts of the week will be an absolute monster show. We will have some injury updates as our final show for week 5. We'll be going live with that one at 7:30 tomorrow night. So guys, thanks heaps for tuning in. For myself, Mullin, and Maverick, we are the Inside NFL podcast, and we'll see you all tomorrow night.
See ya.